Now that the playoffs are underway, it's officially draft season for at least 18 fanbases. So why not start with the hype right away with our very first mock draft of 2025. So without any further ado, let's begin. With the first overall pick, the Tennessee Titans select Cam Ward. It is believed that they will pick between him and Sanders, but I'm taking the Miami QB here due to some reports claiming that the Titans love him as a prospect, and this early in the draft season, that's good enough for me. At number 2, the Cleveland Browns get Travis Hunter. The Heisman winner will provide an instant spark to this Cleveland team that is desperate to find some hope. This team could most certainly use a quarterback, but apparently they'll give Watson yet another chance, so I have them picking Hunter here. With the third overall pick, the New York Giants will get Shedeur Sanders. The quarterback out of Colorado has a lot of potential, even though his name could be a big reason for his apparent success. However, New York needs to improve its quarterback situation badly, so this is the right move here. At number 4, the Patriots select Kelvin Banks. They must protect Drake May heading onto his sophomore season, and Banks can do precisely that. If they don't get him here, I think trading back would be the second best option in this position. On to the Jaguars, Will Johnson. I think this may be an unpopular opinion, but it just makes sense. The corner out of Michigan would be a great fit for this team that is not in a great position and could use an explosive playmaker to build a roster from the ground up. Now with pick number 6, the Raiders get Malaki Starks. This could be a kind of reach, but it could also pay off big time. Starks could be an immediate playmaker over in Vegas, and I think the potential is definitely worth the risk in this position. With the 7th overall pick, the Jets select Abdul Carter. I believe he's the best pass rusher of this class, and he would be a nice addition to this Jets defense. This is a solid roster, but they need a spark, and personally, I think the Penn State edge rusher can provide exactly that to this group. Now at number 8, the Panthers will get to Tyrone McMillan. The wide receiver out of Arizona could for sure make a case as the best one of the entire class. Bryce Young showed a lot of potential later on the season, and for me, the best way to boost his development is to draft a top tier wide receiver round 1. On to number 9 we go, and the Saints get Michael Williams. I think this is a good scheme fit, and New Orleans doesn't really have a lot of options in this position. Williams is a great player, and I truly believe he could become a superstar if developed correctly by the Saints. Moving on, the Chicago Bears select Mason Graham. I think their defense could use some work since I think coaching was the main issue offensively. Graham would provide instant production to the defensive line and boost the overall production of the entire defensive squad around him. Now at number 11, the 49ers get Will Campbell. They had a lot of injuries, but that doesn't change the fact that the offensive line could use some extra pieces. Campbell would be that piece from day one, helping to maintain the legacy of what once was one of the best offensive lines in the entire league. Now with the 12th pick, the Dallas Cowboys get Ashton Jeanty. The running back out of Boise State had an amazing finish to his college career, nearly winning the Heisman Trophy. The competition he faced was most certainly not top tier, but that doesn't change the fact that he's an amazing playmaker capable of boosting Dallas' offense to the next level. Moving on, the Miami Dolphins get Luther Burden. With rumors of Tyreek Hill leaving, I think getting a wide receiver just became a big priority. Burden could be a starter right away, and he could become Tua's favorite target before you even notice it, so this move just makes sense for me. Now for the Colts, Shavon Revel. They can use some help over at the defensive side of the ball, and I'm liking the East Carolina corner here. This may as well be a risky pick, but we're still way too early into the draft process to see which risky prospects are the most worth taking round 1. On to number 15, the Falcons get Walter Nolan. They need to improve their defense, and the D-tackle out of Ole Miss is just too good of a prospect to pass on. Nolan would be a starter right away, and he has the potential to be one of the best defenders in the league if the Falcons are able to develop him correctly. Now hitting the halfway point, the Arizona Cardinals get Emeka Egbuka. Think about this for a second, it's just perfect. If Kyler is to stay in Arizona, giving him a top tier wide receiver alongside Marvin Harrison is a great move. Egbuka has all the talent in the world, so of course I think this is the way to go for Arizona. Now for number 17, the Bengals get James Pierce Jr. He would provide an immediate spark to a defense that is in desperate need for improvement. Pierce could learn a lot alongside Trey Hendrickson, which is also a big reason why I'm picking him in this spot for Cincinnati. Moving on, the Seahawks get Nick Corton at number 18. He could be a starting defensive end anywhere anywhere, but I actually like Seattle quite a lot for him. The prospect out of Texas A&M could have an immediate impact in this young and talented defense, and he has the potential to be a long-lasting superstar in the long run. Now with the 19th pick, the Texans select Tyler Booker. Houston desperately needs to improve their offensive line if they want to keep CJ Stroud alive. Booker would be a day one starter capable of providing top-tier protection to the interior of the offensive line, which explains why the Texans would use a first-round pick on him. Now with the 20th overall pick, the Buccaneers get Benjamin Morrison. They could use some help over at the defensive side of the ball, and here's when Morrison is needed. The corner out of Notre Dame has some insane potential, and he could most definitely be a playmaker over in Tampa. At number 21, the Broncos get Tyler Warren. Bo Nix looked great during his rookie season, but I think Denver could still give him some more help. A good tight end can be a game changer for a young QB, so getting Warren here could be a great move by the Broncos. With pick number 22, the Steelers get Trey Amos. The cornerback situation could most certainly use some extra help right away. Amos has the potential to be a day one starter for Pittsburgh, and I think the rest of this defense would massively benefit from his presence in the field. Moving on, the Rams get Cameron Williams. This offensive line is solid, but there's always room for improvement. The offensive tackle out of Texas has the potential to be an amazing player in the NFL, and I don't think he's as risky as a prospect as some other ones available here. With pick number 24, the Packers then get Derek Harmon. The defensive tackle out of Oregon has some insane potential and could be a beast if developed correctly. The Packers happen to need some help over at the defensive side of the ball, so this is the move right here for them. Now for the Chargers, Colston Loveland. Jim Harbaugh did wonders as his first year of head coach over in LA, but this team could be even better. Loveland would be a day one starter at tight end, and he would provide versatility to an offense that already has loads of potential and is just on the rise. On to pick 26, the Commanders get Nick Emanwori. They need to draft a defensive player here because truthfully that's the only reasonable choice. The safety out of South Carolina is a solid scheme fit, and I think he could potentially start right away and become a Pro Bowler early in his career. Now for the Ravens, Jalen Walker. He's a stud linebacker and could make a case as the best one of the entire class. Walker would be a perfect fit in Baltimore, and this team needed some defensive improvements, so drafting him round 1, it's just the beginning of that process. With the 28th pick, the Eagles get Trey Harris. The star wide receiver out of Ole Miss is a great scheme fit for Philly and could for sure thrive in a powerful offense such as the one in Philadelphia. Jalen Hurts and the current receiving core would massively benefit from his presence as well, so I'm liking this pick here. Moving on, the Buffalo Bills acquire Josh Simmons. Josh Allen had an amazing season in 2024, but one thing that could help him even more is a top-tier lineman. Simmons could potentially be a day one starter for Buffalo, and he is capable of turning into one of the best offensive tackles the league has sooner rather than later. With the 30th overall pick, the Vikings select Tyleik Williams. This is a great defense, but I think drafting a sharp defensive tackle can only help. This D-line is great on the edges, so boosting the interior will provide a more versatile defensive approach with an immediate impact in 2025. Moving on to the Lions, Shamar Stewart. They lost Aiden Hutchinson early last season, and we all saw how weak their defensive end depth was. Stewart would probably not be a starter, but he could definitely be used in the rotations and as a valuable depth piece for Detroit. And now at number 32, the Kansas City Chiefs select Xavier Watts. This is a great defense, but safety is one of the positions where I think they can most certainly improve. Watts just seems like a Chief to me, so I have Kansas City selecting him to try and turn him into the superstar he's capable of being. And so that was my first mock draft of 2025, and make sure to stick around to see the ones that will come next.